That is a tasty beverage.
Well, it is definitely the beer of champagnes.
Yes, this is true. It's not Sprite though. But God, I hope everyone gets that joke.
Whatever.
It was a good movie. It's iconic.
What movie?
Did I just quote all that from?
The beer of champagnes?
No, that is a tasty beverage. Pulp Fiction, man.
Oh, I haven't seen that in years.
Oh, you disappoint
Good
me.
movie though.
Yeah,
Good
it
movie.
is.
Good movie.
It's amazing. Whoops.
That
I'll clean that up.
That was talented. That was really talented.
Yeah, that's why
Johnny
I don't do
Orange
anything
just
left-handed.
whipped a bottle cap across the studio and managed to hit one of the lights instead of anything else remotely where a bottle cap should go.
There was a garbage can behind it is my goal.
Mm-hmm.
The other one went there without issue.
All right, man. Well, hey, are you ready to hear the
Conclusion, finale.
Yeah,
finito.
the conclusion of Ultimate Adventure. Now, obviously, I'm going to probably be talking about Ultimate Adventure for months to come, different things that come up, but the conclusion of
Remember,
the
I do
recap.
think I may have promised people a potential interview with Chad.
Yeah, not this episode.
No, not this one, no. In the future.
Yeah, we'll definitely interview him. But
oh, yeah.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
So, well, where did I leave you off last week, man? Was it,
I don't know.
well, it was the end of day 6 we were talking about.
I thought it was the beginning of day 6, or was it?
Oh, no, that's right. The end of day 5, partying with the people
from O'Reilly.
From O'Reilly's in the Cody, Wyoming parking lot.
Yes.
Cody Hotel.
Fine source for quality auto parts.
Yeah, there you go.
Please sponsor us.
Yeah, absolutely. I always love those guys in their red shirts. So.
Wrong place.
Oh, wrong place.
We're trying to get a sponsorship. That's the other guys. I mean, they're good. They're pretty good too.
So the day 6, we left Cody and we headed towards the area that is known as the Badlands of Wyoming.
I've heard of this place.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I've heard about it too. More dust, more smoke. Although I think day 6 is when we finally started to get to see the sun, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But we're going along, and I didn't know what to expect with the Badlands. I'd never really looked it up, never really Googled it. I've been to Wyoming before, but I'd never been to the Badlands region.
Yeah.
Wasn't really sure what we had going on there. And but apparently it's not as mountainous as what we'd been doing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't plains per se either. And so we're going along, and we're checking this out, and we're going up and down along through these. I don't know how to explain this. Well, one of the things is throughout the trip, you might have seen a couple of pictures. I was wearing my ski goggles.
Yes.
I have these kind of amber tinted ski goggles, and I wasn't wearing them as a joke or anything like that. The dust and sand was so bad that they work great. They actually recommended in one of the previous emails before the trip, they said ski goggles or dust goggles are highly recommended. Okay, great. So I brought my ski goggles. They did. They worked great. I wore them almost every day on the trip.
Nice.
We're going along, but through the amber tinted lens of these ski goggles, I swear we were wheeling on Mars. I mean, that's what this looked like. It looked like the Martian landscape, like rocks and little hills. And, but there was tumbleweeds and, the dust. Not really tumbleweeds, but little scrub and stuff like that. But it was pretty wild.
That's awesome.
And so we're going along what they called Fenton Pass, which is all like dirt and whatnot. And we eventually get to this area where we all pulled over out in the middle of absolutely somewhere. Nowhere, whatever you want to call it. And Vern Simmons, who is the tech editor for Peterson's.
Their four-wheeler?
now four-wheeler,
Yeah,
but
okay.
he was tech editor for years. He gets out and he, he starts showing us around, and this is an area, and he starts telling us these personal stories. Yeah. He grew up, his dad was a paleontologist.
Okay.
And they traveled all around the world, but spent a lot of time in
this. Seen a movie that started this way.
That was every episodes of Friends. Ross was a paleontologist. But anyways, so they traveled all around the world searching for fossils and stuff like that, and he was super knowledgeable about them. But they spent a lot of time in Wyoming. So this one area they'd specifically spent a lot of time in. So he started showing us how to hunt for fossils. And
nice.
So we're going along, and people are finding these, fossilized whatever. I found a couple pieces, and he's like, yeah, he goes, that's about 50 million years old. That's fossilized prehistoric turtle shell of some sort.
Nice.
And you could see like the little bone structures and stuff. It's really cool. It was really neat. And he was telling us all these stories, and it was just, I don't even know how to explain it, man. You just had to be there. It was one of those things where you had to be there.
Yeah.
But listening to him, and he's telling us these really like deeply personal family stories of what his dad did. He's telling us over, and after we left, he's telling us this stuff over the radio.
Nice.
He's getting on the radio, and he's just like, yeah, and my dad did this, and we did this, and we went here, and we did this, and it was the most intimate part of UA in my mind. It was super, super cool. Vern, I don't know if you listen to the podcast. I know we're friends on Facebook, but I can't tell you enough on how much I appreciate it. It was so, so cool. One of my favorite parts of the trip, honestly, was listening to Vern's stories about those days, and then him teaching us.
That's what I love about those kind of events. Just talking with the guys, the whole been there, done that. Just the history, the knowledge they have of areas and things like that. I absolutely love that. It's so cool.
It was really, really neat. I just had a really good time doing that. Yeah. I mean, it brought out the inner nerd in all of us. Oh, yeah. It was just, people looking for the fossils and doing all the different stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was one of my highlights of the trip as well. So, we leave there, and we ended up hitting pavement again. Mm-hmm. And that was for the rest of the day. So we're going along. And mind you, we're down to 25 rigs now because the Quigley van's still not repaired. Mm-hmm. And we're going along, and we had heavy elevation, a lot of steep climbs, but they're on main roads.
Yeah.
These are main highways. They did their best to avoid freeways. Mm-hmm. I think we did less than 100 miles of freeway on the entire trip.
That's awesome.
90% of what we did was dirt road. Mm-hmm. We did probably 10% highway, maybe 80%, not to dirt road, but dirt road and off-roading. Maybe 10% or so highways, and then the freeways as well.
Nice.
So we're going along, and we're doing these steep, heavy inclines, these elevations going up, just going crazy. And this was when, transmission-wise, it started to separate the men from the boys. Manuals, we're not having any problem. The automatics are just puking left and right. They're overheating. They're, they're spewing fluid. It was crazy. I don't know who was the first to go out on that with the automatics, but we had a number of people that, and then they were vapor locking. I know Jeff was having that problem with his Scout, and we were just like, we were just having problem after problem with that. So people are pulling everybody else up the hill. I know the tracker with the automatic had a problem. Ian, all of a sudden, loses I think all forward gears or something. I don't know, something started going on with him. Mm-hmm. Just totally cooking his transmission. He thought his was done. True car guy, man. He calls up some people back home. He used to be a GM tech before he was a teacher, he was a GM tech, trans tech at a GM dealership. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, overnight me a TH400 rebuild kit. I need to rebuild it in the parking lot tonight. One more day of wheeling, he's going to rebuild his trans in the parking lot of the hotel.
Holy crap.
He was going to do it. But I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think it was Christian Hazel. He gets on the phone or gets a hold of the radio and says, hey, so-and-so just down the road is kind of a friend of the cronies and friend of the group, kind of waiting for you guys. And, you can take it over to his shop and work on it. So they arranged for Ian to take his tube Jeep, which it was that thing. Speaking of his rig, he was on like 42-inch crawler stickies. It was a full tube car that you like peeled an LJ from and then put it onto it. So the whole frame was all custom. It was a really sweet rig. He takes this thing. I even helped him work on it one night. He needed to make a heat shield for his shifter because he had burned up a shifter cable and some trans lines and all sorts of stuff. Gets this thing over there, and that night they went digging into it, and just the fluid had been burnt to a crisp. So he did a full flush out of it, and he had enough power that he was able to go on day 7. So
very cool.
He's able to join us again. So for day 6, after doing that and having all these elevation problems with all of the rigs, we finally limped into with a couple of the rigs on ropes, which here you go, shout out sponsor, bad. Voodoo Rope was the sponsor. Voodoo Rope had these awesome ropes that they gave out to all of the drivers.
Nice.
I have never seen an off-road rope that works so good as a toe strap, but then also as a snatch strap. And then like if you're off road, because they're round instead of being a flat strap. Yeah. When people were pulling over rocks and stuff, they just like slid right over the rocks.
Nice.
Super nice. Voodoo Rope, great product.
Awesome.
But anyways, so a couple of guys got pulled in on Voodoo Ropes. We pulled into at like 9:30 at night, Mount Rushmore.
Nice.
I didn't even know they were open that late, and we pull in, and we got to see Mount Rushmore at night. I've been there once before during the day, so now I've seen it at nighttime too.
That's awesome.
Honestly, I think it looks cooler at night than it does during the day.
I believe. Do they like light the faces up, or it's just kind of animatronic?
They do, and they're animatronic. Nice. They come out live like at Disney World.
That's cool.
No, did you not?
Like a night at the museum, but they're talking. Yeah, that's awesome.
They tell you their story like when you're at Disney, and
nice.
7 years ago and all that. But no.
Nice.
They do light them up though. They light up the whole side of the mountain.
That is awesome.
They light up the Hall of Flags there.
Nice.
It was really cool. Really cool. Real patriotic kind of moment. Cool. A lot of people out there. I was surprised how many people were out there for that time of night. Yeah. It's super cool to see it at night. Nice. I was a little disappointed because the last time I was at Mount Rushmore, their cafe was open. It was closed this time probably because of the hours. And they had some of the best soup I ever had in my life. So I was hoping we'd get some soup that night, but it didn't happen.
Oh, damn.
And then
no soup for you, eh?
Yeah, no soup for me. And then the Gutzon Borglum Museum, the guy who carved Mount Rushmore, was closed, so we didn't get to see that. But I've been there before. It was super cool. But so it was neat to do that. And then, of course, we tried to drive back into town at Piedmont there, which apparently is kind of like our little town here, and everything just closes at 8 o'clock. So there was no dinner available. Like, we went all over the place, and we finally were just like, all right, we're eating Cliff Bars for dinner. And so... So that's what we ended up doing. But so, everybody settled in. We didn't really have much of a parking lot thing that night. It was just kind of all right, we got one more day of wheeling. Everybody get ready for tomorrow. Because we were pretty exhausted. I mean, we'd been wheeling
6 days.
wheeling 6 days and then troubles.
Dirt.
Exactly. Yeah. So we get going, and, the next morning, had a nice final drivers meeting. And, everybody's like, they're like, okay, we're going to this area. And one of the nice things is about day 7 was, unlike every other day where we had done maybe a couple hundred miles plus a bunch of wheeling, we literally were driving like 15 miles out of town, if that, maybe 10, to a off-road area where all of the wheeling was within a couple of acres. Nice. And it was this trail that just snaked back and forth upon itself. Hardcore rock crawling. Big ledges.
Nice.
Big drop-offs. It was just something crazy. Before we did that, though, we did, I don't know what the road was called, but it was like the Road to Rushmore.
Okay.
And if you go along, it went through tunnels that they carved between the rock and everything.
Cool.
And, went all the way up, and we got to see Mount Rushmore at daytime.
Nice.
From a distance. Super cool. One of the guys I don't remember. I think it was Dave Tucker, might have been Ian Tucker. They had the only Land Cruiser on the trip. They had an FJ40 that was on an FJ60 and FJ80 rear axle. Cleanest build there. This thing looked like it was just one of those just top-notch builds.
Yeah.
Everything was plated right. Everything was
That is
painted right.
awesome.
Beautiful rig. They did a time-lapse video that you can find online of us doing the drive up to Rushmore, and it's really cool to watch because it only takes like 2 minutes, but you get to see the whole drive.
How long was it normally?
I don't know. It was like 45 minutes, maybe.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty cool.
So that is seriously condensed. That sounds awesome. Mm-hmm. I definitely got to go and find all this
I'll
stuff.
have to try to share it at 4x4 Talk or something. But Tucker guys, by the way, they were super cool. They were re-invited readers. They were invited readers last year when they went to Alaska,
Nice.
and they were re-invited this year. So
Nice.
I don't know if they'll be re-invited again, because a lot of times I guess they do like 2 years and then they don't. I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
I learned a lot of different things, but some of the stuff's still a mystery to me.
Yeah.
But super cool rig, super cool people, really laid back. Another father and son team. We had a couple father-son teams on this thing. It was really neat. So anyway, we get out to the what's an area that's called the Bikini Trail.
Okay.
And it is maintained by the Black Hills Four-Wheelers. It's a club out there, and they were the ones that worked with the Forestry Service out there to designate this trail system.
Nice.
And it is meant for full-size users. It's not a side-by-side trail.
That's
it's not
cool.
a bike trail. It is meant for 4x4s.
Nice.
So we get out there and we start wheeling. And, I mean, we realized right away that this was a rock-crawling day and that it was the kind of day where, as Trent McGee said, he said, you might only make 700 yards for the day. Like,
Jeez.
there was a lot of, so we're going along. Chad, great. I mean, he got right into it. I ended up getting out of the rig. I drove maybe 30% of this trip, by the way. Chad drove about the rest of the 70%. But on day 7, I got out of the rig and I just started taking pictures because, one, I didn't want to be cooped up in a rig that was only moving half a mile an hour at tops. But at the same time, I had a good time. So he's going along and I'm watching everybody else and I'm taking pictures of all the other rigs. And there was, they'd done a couple cool little obstacles, and there was this tight twist around a tree. Really neat thing, though, is we're on the top of this mountain, and we are wheeling within view of Mount Rushmore.
Oh, cool.
We could see Mount Rushmore from where we were wheeling. So that was really, it was off
Awesome
in the distance.
backdrop for pictures.
You couldn't see it in the pictures. It was too much of a dot, but you could see it with the naked eye. You could tell, hey, that's Mount Rushmore over there.
That's awesome.
So that was really cool. So we're in South Dakota, obviously, at this time. And so we're going along, and there's this tight little twist in the trail, and then an uphill climb with some pretty sizable boulders and rocks. Well, Vern Simmons and myself had sat up on this one ledge, and a bunch of other people were there too, and they were watching all the rigs go up. Some of the guys had to winch, some of the guys were able to get up over it, and we're sitting there, and Vern was doing something with his phone, and one of the guys, we hear a bunch of yelling up the trail. Well, apparently Corby from Warren had Warren winches and all that.
Yeah.
They had a CJ7 out there.
Nice.
And they had blown up the front axle.
Ooh.
And so everybody's running up there, and they're taking video, and they're taking pictures. And so myself and Vern, we're still sitting there as Jeff from IH Parts America comes up, and he's got his Scout too. And he comes up, and he's kind of hitting it, and he's getting passenger tire airborne, passenger tire airborne, passenger tire airborne. He's hitting the rocks. And we're kind of half, there was a guy that was down there that was kind of half spotting him, and we're kind of watching for him. And he just kind of got frustrated, and he hits it hard. And I could not get my camera over to video mode fast enough.
Oh.
I just started hitting the picture button. He goes up in the air and did a barrel roll and down onto the driver's side.
Oh.
Of course, I immediately stopped then and run down to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
And everybody else runs over there. But I was the only one that got pictures of the roll, mid-roll.
Nice.
And they get him out of there. Windshields popped out. The doors all smashed in. At first he's like, oh my God, but then he was cool. He was cool. He's like, yeah, this is part of wheeling, and he's like, the Scout will live again, and so
nice.
They flopped it back over. They actually got it running. Even though a lot of oil had made its way up into the cylinders and stuff, they got it rerunning again, and he drove it back out to the trailhead.
Nice.
So. Hopefully, I'd love to see what he does with it, if he restores it or if he puts it back on the trail or whatnot. But so everybody's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we missed it first flop at UA," and it's like, well, you guys are all paid attention to the stupid axle shaft that's broken, So people were continuing on the trails, and they were doing some crazy climbs, and the winches came out probably more than they had ever on the trip so far.
How did Chad do with the whole? How far did he get? More than 700 yards, at least.
Well, everybody made the whole trail except for Jeff and the Scout.
Yeah, nice.
We were tail gunning that day. We were right at the back. In fact, the only ones behind us were, I think it was Clifton Slay, actually. And so we had come around, and we get out to this, I forgot what they call it. It was kind of a waterfall kind of type climb area, rocks, but it was a sheer climb straight up, and you had to bridge your passenger tire on like a pointy rock ledge and your driver tire on the other side. And I think I didn't see all the first half of the group go through. I think that Dave Chappelle and his Mazda might have been the only one that I saw that did it without a winch.
Huh. Nice.
So they would get the guys to get their front end up over it, and then they'd run winch. And of course, everybody's running a Warn winch.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that didn't have a Warn winch.
Nice. I gotta hook mine up still.
And they ended up they'd pull them the rest of the way. Well, Ian comes along. And he's got the 42 stickies on there, and he starts like hitting it, and he's like, actually, I think Ian got up without a winch. I do think after this, though. So he's hitting it, and he's kind of taking different lines, and next thing you know, boom, there goes Ian's tube car over onto the passenger side.
Nice.
Ian climbs out the side of it, he's like, oh, woohoo, He was fine. He was cool. We flop it back down.
Can you make that noise again?
Woohoo. No, he didn't make that noise. That was just, but...
It disappoints me.
So, but he was cool. We flopped thing back over, and everybody. I think we pushed that one by hand. We had to use 3 winches to get Jeff's Scout uprighted because it was up the side of the hill. It was like in dire danger of going further. So, but Ian kind of flopped over onto fairly level ground.
Yeah.
So. Flipping back down, he does it a couple more times, and I'm pretty sure he got up without a winch.
Nice.
That is the only obstacle that Chad bypassed the entire trip because everyone was getting winched up it, and it was starting to get dark.
Yeah.
Our phones were saying it was going to be raining soon, so we're like, and we knew we had one more serious obstacle after that. So it was
get out while we can, kind of thing.
So we took the bypass on that. I think Clifton might have taken the bypass. I'm not sure. We get up around, and then the last one was kind of a multi-step ledge rock climb thing, and Chad gave it his all to Austin, the cameraman. He thought it was the coolest thing because he's like hitting this thing, and he's like wham, 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 and it's like but he just couldn't get to the top. I know that one of our trail guides had a rear steer rock buggy, and he climbed up to the top of it, but I think a lot of guys were getting winched on that one as well.
Bummer.
But it's still, total blast. So.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like it.
So we ended up, getting that thing up there, and then we all got out, and we get to the very end of the trail, and they do like impromptu drivers meeting, very, it's just kind of a rap type thing. And, Christian comes out, and he's like, hey, he goes, couple of things. He goes, one, we usually do a banquet at the end of UA because of COVID, though we're not allowed to. He's like, so this is the end. He's like, you guys, you're on your own now, but officially there's no more, no more involvement from Motor Trend and stuff, which was true. And he said, but they gave everybody a gift bag. He's like, we got a gift bag for everybody. It had like trail mix in it, 5-hour energy, and a cigar. So it was really nice. And he thanked everybody for coming, and they talked a little bit. Well, then, and it's already past dark. So then we all make our way back to the hotel, and we go and get some food. There was a great little restaurant next door. We got some gourmet burgers and stuff. But then we go back. Well, Ian had once again treated everyone to pizza.
Nice.
And so everybody's out in the parking lot. Now it's just a parking lot party, you know, and people were still distancing and all that. I mean, it's just, you know, but it was really nice. It was
That's
just
awesome.
You know, it wasn't an official Motor Trend thing or anything, but like even the Motor Trend guys and the Peterson's guys and everybody was out there.
That is awesome.
Everybody's just like talking trucks.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, we were out there till like 1 o'clock in the morning, just chilling,
Nice.
you know. Yeah, the ice cream van did awesome. He peeled his back bumper, like flattened it.
Nice.
You know, I'm trying to think of any other major carnage that was on the trip. Yeah, one of the vans broke a steering box. There's a number of breaks and stuff, but we got 25 rigs out of the initial 26 to finish the event.
That's awesome.
The Quigley van could have finished if we could have gotten the part. We just couldn't get the part. So that was the problem with that. But
that's a bummer, but hey, always next time.
Oh, yeah. Sponsors, we had Skyjacker Suspensions was there. They had some awesome products. We had a Skyjacker lift on the Sport that we were driving, the JKU. Nice. Like I said, Bubba Rope was there. Onyx.
Nope. Not Bubba Rope.
Why do I think they were an old sponsor of UA.
Yeah, they were at one point, yeah.
Voodoo Rope, sorry. Voodoo Rope. Sorry, Voodoo guys. Voodoo Rope was there.
Warren, of course.
Warren Winches. Cummins was an engine sponsor. Quick Draw brand. Quick Draw brand. All these sponsors are what made this event happen.
Yeah.
You know, they pay a sponsorship fee, and that covers, you know, not only the giveaways, but it covers trail fees and just all sorts of things, and the camera crew and everything to make this thing happen.
That's awesome. It
was just super, super cool.
One day.
Well, I talked to Chad. So Chad did ride back with me. Mm-hmm. We had actually the night before we'd grabbed the truck and trailer and brought it back to the hotel. Mm-hmm. And so we loaded up and we were, you know, out of there. What would that have been? Sunday morning, I think. So we were out of there pretty good time in the morning. We're driving down the road and we're talking, and he's totally in for next year as a sponsor. He is planning on building his swivel frame power wagon that he has.
Nice.
And taking that. And it's going to be Cummins powered, it looks like. So
very nice.
It's going to be a pretty sweet rig. He loves this. He told me, he said, and really, maybe we should wait to talk to Chad. But one thing he did tell me is he said he didn't fully get the off-road, the appeal to spending the kind of money that people do to go to the off-road community until he did UA.
Yeah.
And I told him, I says, you're going to be disappointed from everything else now. No. But no, I have done, in all honesty, I have done harder core mudding, harder core rock crawling, all that stuff at different points. But that was the first time in my life I did a week straight of wheeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy.
That is awesome.
We drove home. We made one pit stop. Actually, two. We stopped at Wall Drug and got more donuts. But yeah, they're famous donuts, you know. And
keep
then
talking about them donuts you didn't bring.
Oh, they're huge.
Just go ahead and keep doing it.
And then we...
I'm going to drink my beer and I'm not looking at you the rest of this night.
So then we... he had some engines from his business that he had purchased forever ago that were sitting in a storage place in Kansas City. So we made a little bit of a detour to Kansas City, and we loaded some engines on the trailer with the Jeep.
That's cool.
And, we talked and chatted the whole way back, and it was funny because he'd gone, in my eyes, from this guy that, was a newbie to this, to being a seasoned hardcore wheeler and to really enjoying it.
That's awesome.
And so, in his products, I mean, without fail, we had no issue with the Quick Draw products whatsoever.
Nice.
Actually, I mean, I don't think anybody had any issue with any of the sponsored products whatsoever.
Awesome.
And that's something to be said.
Oh, yeah.
We maybe bent our Skyjacker control arms a little bit, like when we landed at 4-foot jumps and stuff. But it's
still drove it home. That says a lot right there.
And the Metal Cloak Fab stuff. They were not an official sponsor, but they supplied it for his build. Held up so well. No problems with the Voodoo ropes.
Nice.
The new Warren.
Hey, you said it right this time.
The Warren wheels were cool. No one had a tire failure with the Falcons.
Cool.
We had one. So the Skyjacker Bronco, I don't remember what tires he was running, but they were older tires, and he did have a sidewall let go, but it was not a Falcon.
Nice.
The Falcon tires, we didn't have so much as a nail in a tire.
Nice.
I mean,
that's impressive.
Yeah. But saw so many cool things. I totally missed that. I don't remember what day it was now. It's like day 4 or 5. We went and we saw an old abandoned mining facility where they had like a big steam driven machine and everything's all abandoned out in the woods and stuff. And
that is so cool.
So yeah, and huge shout out to Christian Hazel, of course, was putting this whole thing on, and I think it was the first time he officially did all of this. Maybe last year was but Trent McGee for running all these trails, pre-running. It takes him weeks to pre-run it all.
I believe it.
And figure it all out.
I believe it.
Sam Gillis tail gunned the entire trip.
Nice.
And ate so much dust. Poor guy. All the UA cronies, all the UA staff, Motor Trend staff, four-wheeler staff, all these, everybody, and that was something about the trip too, buddy. When you do an off-road trip or a vacation or any event where you do it with a group of people, especially with 50 people, we had about 50 people, maybe a little more than that, including the camera crew.
Yeah.
When you do a trip with 50 people for a week, you expect a little bit of drama. You expect people to maybe get on each other's nerves and stuff.
Yeah.
There was none of that.
Awesome.
It was, if it was out there, we never saw it.
That's awesome.
Everyone was super cool with each other. Everyone, nobody wanted to deal with the Rona stuff. Everybody knew that we had to play nice. Clifton put, such an awesome effort into all of that.
Yeah.
Just everyone that was there, it was just, it was so cool. That is
awesome.
Everybody just got along. And
that's what I love about trips like that. And I haven't done big trips in that kind of volume, but, smaller trips, we get 15, 20 people that you got to group together, and it's just awesome when everybody can get along and there's no BS, no drama, no arguing, fighting, complaining, or anything like that. That's amazing.
Exactly.
It is incredible.
It was just, you didn't even have so much as somebody that was super opinionated about something or anything. I mean, it was just, everybody was just laid back and chill.
That's awesome.
And everybody was sitting around the bonfires and drinking bourbon and pop and, and beer and whatever. And, and it was super cool to be able to meet a lot of my 4x4 icons and stuff, and I'm hoping that we can bring some of them on the podcast in the near future here. I know they all busy schedules and stuff too, but even some of the guys from some of these companies. We forgot to mention Off-Road Design. They were they were the official transfer case doubler.
Nice.
People of UA, and then Quigley they had their custom drive shafts, and they were the van sponsor. So
nice.
So many cool people, and
that is awesome.
It was really, man. I hope that over these last 3 episodes, I've been able to tell you the story of it a little bit, at least from my eyes. And I hope maybe we'll get some more stories from other people's eyes.
So, overall, how many miles was the trip?
I think it was about 1,200. Just the UA portion of it.
Yeah, that's just the UA, not the getting there and back part.
Yeah, because I had another 4,000 miles in that too. Oof. So, that was the only excursion issue I had on that entire thing, because I took the old project excursion all the way out there and back.
Nice.
Only excursion issue I had was just as I left, I realized I was out of washer fluid. So I went to go fill the washer fluid. And the moment I finished filling it, I realized I just filled my washer reservoir with antifreeze. Because I had mixed 50-50 into an old washer bottle. I had written antifreeze on the label, but it was yellow because it was that universal crap. And so then I was like, for like, I didn't have time to drain it because I did it just before I left.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't have time to drain it and fill it. And I waited like 3 days till the bugs were really bad on the windshield. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. It's probably going to be sticky, but I'm going to see if it's going to work. And because I topped it off with windshield washer fluid too, but apparently my windshield washer motor's out anyways. So I just got to drain it with a new windshield washer motor. So I drove all that with that, I made sure every gas stop scraping the bugs off the windshield. Speaking of that, we pretty much ate Cliff Bars and corn dogs and just junk from gas stations, so it was nice to get home to some real food.
I say, have you been able to use the restroom since?
Oh yeah,
packing all that fiber in there, man.
I tell you what, man, it was, that was, I maybe another time, we could do an episode about things, if I ever did another UA, like things I learned that to do and not to do. For the most part, I think everything worked pretty well.
Yeah.
But, there was a few things. One of the things is I think I might invest in one of those little camp stoves or something. But
those are cool.
Tell you what, though, nothing beats sitting there just chowing down on your MRE or your Cliff Bar when you're hungry and watching those guys take an hour to have to cook their food, and they're just like staring at it like I'm so hungry.
Hey, man, canned ravioli in a straw. It works.
There you go.
I still wish I'd turned it on the exhaust manifold when we started that
pretty
day,
hard to suck ravioli through a straw, but maybe you can.
You stab it and eat it like a spoon.
Oh.
It's like a big giant toothpick.
I thought maybe you were going to tell me you could suck ravioli through a straw.
No. I do not possess that capability. Nor do I know anyone who can.
But so yeah, it was a trip, man. We had a really good time. I'm eternally thankful to Chad at Quick Draw Brand for giving me this opportunity. I really wish you could have come along.
That would have been awesome. One day.
Who
knows? Maybe we'll get an invite one day and we can build something and take it.
That would be
awesome.
I would really hope that could happen.
One day.
I hope the event continues now that it's in the hands of a different publication and all that. But well, it's technically still Peterson still exists, but it's online only. The corporate structure of this is very confusing to me, and it could almost be an entire episode as to how it got to the point that it is today.
I believe it.
So
I believe it.
But hopefully our listeners there have enjoyed this and enjoyed our UA recap. And if you're interested in seeing pictures, go to my personal Facebook page, which is Keith Kodet, Keith Kodet. Look at my album.
Keith Space Kodet.
Oh, nice. Yes. UA 2020 or Ultimate Adventure 2020. You can also look online, the hashtags. Hashtag UA 2020 has got a lot of great pictures.
Awesome.
So if you just look up the hashtag UA 2020, you'd actually find my stuff and other people's.
Nice.
Go to the Wheelin' page. There's all sorts of places you can find stuff. And Four Wheeler is planning on having it in the next couple of months. They'll have the write-up. Motor Trend, the Season 8 should be up. Which is UA 2020, should be up in December.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun to watch.
Hopefully I can find that on somewhere to watch it.
It's called Motor Trend.
Well, like an app or something on Fire Stick or something.
Called Motor Trend.
Is it on there?
Yes.
Oh, well, all right, cool.
Yeah, you get it on there, and that's
right,
you pay like, I don't know, it's $40 a year or something. It's pretty cheap.
Check that out. That's
There's
awesome.
a lot of cool car and truck stuff.
Yeah, awesome. I'll definitely have to take a look at that.
So, John, man, what else you got?
Not a whole lot right now. Work's been, busy. We're kind of dealing with all that stuff and everything going on there. I know, Wheels in the Woods happened. So we all know how that went at this point.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Tell you what, it's been fun. I'm glad we're back in the studio. It's always
absolutely. Try to keep this back on a regular schedule for all these folks. We should probably actually give an official apology to everyone for our our absence lately.
Well, these last couple of weeks have been good, but yeah. Well, tell you what, dude, why don't you do your sign off? I think I'm ready to go get some dinner.
Sounds good to me. As always, of course, huge thanks to Mr. Andrew, our producer. How he puts up with listening to us every week to make this happen, I don't know. Got to give the man a lot of credit for that. That poor guy. Any bonus content you want to check out, make sure to check us out on patreon.com/wheelinradio. Access those $2 a month, get a lot of access to extra content, things we forget to bring up in the show, and just general banter, malarkey, BSing. What other descriptors could we use for content there?
Terrible.
Oh, terrible. We're trying to sell this, man.
All right.
Good, high quality after the show content.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Other than that, yeah, we do have a lot of interaction with everybody on our Facebook page, 4x4 Talk. Make sure to take a look at that. See any kind of upcoming posts we have. If we ask you a question,
Facebook group.
What did I call it?
You called a page. Facebook group 4x4 Talk. You got to join it.
Yeah, what he said. Do that. And I guess, yeah, other than that, thanks for listening and have a good one, everybody.